Shuklam Varadharam Vishnum Shashivannam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadhanam Jayet Sarvavignopasantaye Gurave Sarvalokanam Vishaje Bhavarodhinam Nidaye Sarvavidyanam Dakshinamuktaye Namaha Jnananandamayam Devam Nirmalasphatitakrutim Adharam Sarvavidyanam Hayagrevam Upasmahe Sruti Smruti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Sankaram Loka Sankaram Sadasiva Samarambham Vyasa Sankara Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Apadam Apahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Sri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namanyaham Manojabam Marutatulya Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varistam Vatatmajam Vanarayodamukhyam Sri Ramadutam Sirasa Namami. Hearty welcome to the Sanatana Lahari channel. Today we will look into the management related aspects, principles and tips as well as lessons from the Adikavya Shri Valmiki Ramayana. Our Sanatana Vanmaya, the literature is very immense and it has got tremendous knowledge. That knowledge is eternal. That means this knowledge can be used at any point of time by anyone. It is irrespective of time and space. So, we have Vedas, we have Upanishads, we have Vedangas, we have Puranas, we have Upapuranas, we have Itihasas, etc. Whatnot. And Ramayana is Itihasa. Itihasa means it happened so. It happened like this. And Valmiki Ramayana is considered as the first Sanskrit literature that is available to us. Adikavyam. And Valmiki is considered as the Adikavi, the first poet of Sanskrit literature. So, Valmiki Ramayana is a Dharma Grantha. It gives you the direction in terms of Dharma. What to do, what not to do, how to do, how not to do, etc. Apart from that, it also gives us useful information, useful tips for the current generation, particularly the youth. Be it communication, be it management, be it personality development. You take any aspect that is relevant to the modern youth. The youth are having several challenges ahead of them. To meet these challenges and to lead a very successful life, we can take guidance from Ramayana, Mahabharata and all other Sanatana Vanmaya. So, today let us look into the management related aspects of Valmiki Ramayana. The Valmiki Ramayana has 7 kandas starting from Balakanda, followed by Ayodhya Kanda, Aranya Kanda, Kishkinda Kanda, Sundara Kanda, Yuddha Kanda and Uttara Kanda, and it has got 24,000 slokas. Now, let us look into the town planning related aspects from Valmiki Ramayana. There is a description of Ayodhya Nagara in Balakanda of Valmiki Ramayana given by sage Valmiki. Manuna Manavendrena Nirbita Swayam. It was built by Manu and it was Sarayu Tire. It was on the banks of the river Sarayu. And Ayodhya is the capital of Kosala Desha. If you look at the size of the city, the capital city, it has got 12 yojanas length and 8 yojanas width. One yojana can be considered as 8 miles or about 13 kilometers. The streets were very broad and there were trees on both sides of the roads. That means the tree plantation which we are talking about nowadays, every government talks about that. There are several NGOs involved in this task. But if you look at Ramayana, the practice of having trees on both sides of the road and the advantages and benefits one can derive by having trees on both sides of the road is clearly visible. So our ancestors knew the benefits of trees, of the greenery. Harita Viplava we are calling now. And the Rajapatha, the path that is taken that takes you to the palace of the royal family, the Dasratha and his predecessors, and as well as his successors. The Rajpatha was very broad and it also has trees with flowers on both the sides. Very big doors are there and big gates are there, and the shops and the market area was situated at the center of the town. Several people from the nearby places used to come to this place to pay taxes, to do their transactions, to do their shopping and all. If you look at the modern concept of central business district, we have this concept from Ramayana. This is almost like the central business district concept. And security was also given maximum importance and highest priority by Dasratha and his predecessors to protect the city and its people. They got machines and weapons installed to take care of the security needs of the people living there. So how much importance one should give to the security? Social development is required, economic development is required, and more than these, or together with these efforts to have social and economic development, one should pay greater attention to the safety and security of the people. This is the message from Valmiki Ramayana. Not only talking, most of our leaders simply taught, they don't get into action mode. Whereas during the Ramayana period, the Raghukula, which is described by Kavikula Guru Kalidasa in Raghuvamsa Kavyam, they paid as much importance as required to the safety and security of the people. Welfare of the people is very important. Now let us look into one of the most important skills one has to acquire, namely the communication skills. Ramayana has many number of examples related to the communication skills. Let us start with Hanumanji. The first interaction between Bhagavan Ram and Hanumanji takes place in Kishtandakanda. Sugriva, who is afraid of his brother Vali, and his suspicion was that Vali may come and kill him at any point of time. That kind of fear he was having in his mind. He was living on a mountain, Rishamukha Parvata, and from there he could see two young men coming with all kinds of weapons and all towards him. Then he gets scared. Then Hanumanji tells him, don't get worried, I will go and find out who are these gentlemen. And so Hanumanji goes to meet Rama and Lakshmana. And Hanumanji goes in a different roopam, and he asks some questions to Bhagavan Ram and Lakshmana, Who are you? Where are you from? You seem to be tapasvi, but you are also having the weapons with you. And there are indications on your body to tell us that you used to wear all kinds of ornaments, but now you don't have any ornaments. See, that was the kind of intense observation skills of Hanumanji. That's why he is known as Buddhimatam Varishtam Jnaninam Agraganyam. And after listening to Hanumanji's words, Bhagavan Ram tells Lakshmana about Hanumanji and his communication skills. Really, these tips will be very useful to the youth to improve their communication skills. He says that Bhagavan Ram tells about Hanumanji to Lakshmana that we should talk to him very politely with sweet words. Our Shastra says that Satyam Bruya, Priyam Bruya. You have to tell the truth, but the truth should be very priyam. It should be liked by the people. So the words you are using to convey the message matter a lot. And according to Bhagavan Ram, Hanumanji is an expert in Rigveda, Samaveda and Yajurveda. Nan Rigveda Dharinaha, na Samaveda Vidushaha, Nan Rigveda Vinitassa, na Yajurveda Dharinaha, na Samaveda Vidushaha, Sakyamevam Prabhashutum. Hanumanji is an expert in Rigveda, Yajurveda and Samaveda. Each of these requires different kinds of capability and skill to memorize, to have dharana and to pronounce that, to recite that rather. So Hanumanji is having that kind of skills. That means one will become a good communicator if he gets into reading and reciting and adhyayana of Vedas, whether it is Rigveda or Yajurveda or Samaveda. Next aspect is about the vocabulary. We get impressed by the speaker by the kind of vocabulary they use to convey the message. So, according to Bhagavan Ram, Hanumanji was using all appropriate words. No inappropriate words were used. He was using the right kind of words. And he spoke about various aspects, but no mistakes at all. That means whatever we are speaking, it should be free from grammatical mistakes. That is the first concept one has to pay attention to. And one has to have command over the grammar. Grammatical mistakes should not be there. We more often make many mistakes from the grammatical point of view. So that should be taken care of. Then, many times we will be talking and there will be all kinds of gestures from our body. So it should be avoided. That's not a good quality of a good communicator or good speaker. Though Hanumanji was talking for a while, there were no bad signs in the face or the eyes or forehead or eyebrows or any other part of the body. So he spoke in brief but with lot of clarity. No ambiguity at all. And he was not stopping while talking. Na avistaram, na asantigdham. These are the words used by Valmiki. And many people will be talking and they will be pausing for a while. So Hanumanji was not pausing in between. He was, it was a flow. The flow of communication was there. And many times people break the words. As a result of that, the meaning gets lost. Whereas Hanumanji was not breaking the words, and as a result of that, the correct meaning gets conveyed. And he was neither in hurry nor too slow. Some people will be talking too slow. Some people will be, going at a very fast pace. Both are to be avoided. And when we are talking to anyone, we should have immense confidence. And the confidence we have should get conveyed through our words and through our interaction, verbal interaction rather. And one should express his or her views in a clear manner. The clarity of the message is very, very important. And when it comes to the modulation of the tone of the voice, it should neither be too low nor it should be too high. It depends on the kind of audience. When you are talking to 3 people, you will speak in a different way. When you are speaking to 300 people, your volume modulation will increase. It's like that. And he delivered the message with clarity at a natural speed. And whatever principles are there in the language, every language has its own principles, be it Sanskrit or Hindi or English or Spanish or German, whichever language you take, each language has its own principles. And people should pay attention to these principles when talking in that language. And Hanumanji was giving importance to the principles of the language. And fluency was there. The fluency of the speaker impresses the audience in a big way. And as a result of that, Bhagavan Ram tells that a person like Hanumanji can mesmerize anybody. And he says that Vacham Hrudayaharini. Hanumanji's words will attract the attention and will have impression on the people because of the kind of communication he is doing. And he also adds that if a cruel person comes to Hanumanji with a sword to hit him, after listening to Hanumanji, that person would drop the sword and gets impressed by Hanumanji. And he also says that these are the qualities of an ideal minister, ideal messenger. And the king who is having a minister like this, a messenger like this, would get victory, would be victorious. And as I mentioned, Vacham Hrudayaharini, that's what he says. And here Valmiki used 2 different words also, Vakya Visaradaha and Vacha Kausalaha. These 2 are very important. Everybody should be Vakya Visaradaha and Vachana Kausalaha. And this is about Hanumanji. Let us look at another instance. Sugriva got the kingdom, got his wife. He was, enjoying himself with his wife and with his new kingdom and all. And he was not paying attention to the word he gave to Bhagavan Ram. So Bhagavan Ram gets upset and he sends a message through Lakshmana to Sugriva. There Bhagavan Ram says that Na sankuchitaha pandha yena vali hato gataha. He says that the route through which Vali was sent is still open. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less than that. And Sugriva got the message. This is the way one has to communicate to the people. So we have to learn from Valmiki Ramayana how to communicate to people in whatever situation we are. So the situation and the environment should not have influence on our language, on our vocabulary and on our communication. So having looked into the communication skills, these are all the qualities one has to acquire in terms of communication. So if you adopt these techniques, certainly success would be yours. Now let us look into the concept of welfare state. In the welfare state, people have certain roles and responsibilities. The rulers also have, the rulers or leaders, whatever you call, they also have certain roles and responsibilities. According to Ramayana, given by sage Valmiki, the people living there were immensely committed to perform their respective duties. Sve sve dharme niyokshati. Whatever task is assigned to you, you should perform the task, you should accomplish this task without any reminder and all. If one observes really in the current scenario, in the current days, nowadays, this is the biggest problem. People don't do what they are supposed to do. They will make comments on others. Hey, he is not doing that, he is not doing that. One chief minister will criticize the prime minister. The chief minister does not talk about what he is supposed to do and what he has done, what he has not done. He always makes a point to criticize the prime minister. Vice versa. A central minister will not talk, I am supposed to do this, I am able to do this, I am not able to do this. That is the way it should be done. Rather, the central minister will criticize the chief minister. You have not done this, you have not done this, you have not done this. If every individual in our country, at whatever level they are serving the community, because they are claiming that they are serving the community, if their intention is to serve the community and lead the community to a welfare society and to work for development of the country as a whole, then they should have their own list of tasks to be accomplished, and they should say, yes, I am able to complete this, I was not able to complete this, I am yet to complete this, like that. That kind of scorecard has to be presented before the people. This used to happen in Ramayana's time, during Bhagwan Ram's time, even during Dasharatha's time. And people were very enthusiastic and people were respected. People will be respected because of their honesty, because of their integrity, because of their intelligence, because of their capability, and because of their dedication, because of their commitment. We don't respect a dishonest person. We don't respect a person who has no commitment to his words. So, the people were very enthusiastic and respected. They were all scholars. They were all knowledgeable people. So, we thought that, India is a poor country. India never had good education. No, it's all nonsense. During Ramayana's time, all were knowledgeable people. All were scholars. And people were also wealthy. Not only education, not only the Krupa of Ma Saraswati, they also had the Krupa of Ma Lakshmi. They were also very wealthy people. They were all living very well. Their lifestyle was excellent. And ultimately, the happiness is an indicator of the welfare of the society. And the people of Ayodhya were having unlimited happiness and unlimited comforts. So they were leading comfortable life and they were leading very happy life. We have the concept of happiness index. We see that Bhutan is the happiest nation. But why not India? Because we are moving away from Ramayana, we are moving away from Mahabharata, we are moving away from our Sanatana Dharma. We are deprived of happiness and comforts and other good qualities. So if you want to get into comfortable life and happy life and all, then move towards Sanatana Dharma, move towards Sanatana Vanmaya, read Sanatana Vanmaya, acquire the knowledge from Sanatana literature and start implementing the principles, start following the lifestyle that was prescribed by our Rishis and Munis through our Sanatana Vanmaya. And people are also assured of health, long life and wealth for generation. Arogya Mahabhagya. If you lose wealth, you can get it again. If you lose your health, you cannot get it again so easily. We have seen that during the COVID pandemic, how people were suffering, how the infrastructure was inadequate to cater to the needs of the people. Whereas during Ramayana time, during Rama's time or Dasharatha's time, people were assured of health. So their health was taken care of, their wealth was taken care of, their security was taken care of, their safety was taken care of. What else you want? That's why we all want Ramarajya, Ramarajya, Ramarajya. Why do we need Ramarajya? Because of all these qualities. And for generations, they were enjoying health, healthy life, and long life, and wealth. And the drinking water facilities were provided to the public as well as the travelers. Now, if we are traveling somewhere, you have to buy water. Where are we heading towards? And on the roadside, drinking water facility was provided so that the people who are traveling can have water. Can we think of that kind of a system now in India? Can anyone who talks about Ramarajya make an attempt towards this? We should question ourselves. Each of our leaders, each of our bureaucrats should question themselves. Are we going in the direction of Ramarajya or are we going in the reverse direction? And there were lakes, water bodies to take care of the drinking as well as non-drinking needs of the people. So, water, pure drinking water, portable drinking water to all the people, and irrigation facility should be provided to the agriculture so that the agriculture gets the benefit of the availability of water and you get the crops and yield. And agriculture during that time, during Ramayana's time, was not rain dependent. In India, even now, even after 70 years of independence, many of our farmers unfortunately depend on rainwater or rainfall for their irrigation for their fields, agriculture, crops and all. So, where are we heading? So, why are we moving away from Ramarajya concept? Now, Dhanamolam idam jagat, that's what people say. But Ramayana says, Dharmena labate sarvam dharmasaram idam jagat. So, but of course, you need money, you need revenue, and every government is interested in taxation and revenue generation. How the revenue generated from the people, how the taxpayers' money is spent is a different issue. Let us not get into that. Now, let us look into the revenue generation related principles from Ramayana. More income was generated, more revenue was generated, and there was a control on the expenses. The expenses were limited, and always the expenses were in line with the income. If you look at the current situation in our country, almost all the state governments have more loans and more outstanding debts compared to the revenue they are generating. Because they never follow this principle of revenue should be higher than your expenditure. Your expenditure should never be more than your revenue. But they give all kinds of promises just to get into power, and they never bother about the fiscal deficit, and they get into this debt trap, and as a result of that, we have more debts and more loans to pay than the income, the revenue that is generated by any of the government. And control of the expenses is the least prioritized activity currently. Whereas during Ramayana time, Ramayana says that there should be control on the expenses that are incurred. And it also says that the tax collection should be through unfair means. And whatever means you are adopting for tax collection, they should be completely unfair. And they should be fair. You should never get into unfair means of tax collection. Whereas now we are getting into all unfair means of tax collection. Whereas Ramayana says that all your tax collection means should be very fair, completely fair. And it also says that your tax collection drive should not lead to humiliation of the people. Whereas we are doing the reverse now. We are humiliating honest people for small reasons. And it also says that the tax collection should be similar to the way a bee collects the honey from the flowers without making any damage to the flowers. Now let us look into the leaders or the rulers. What they should do, what they should not do according to Ramayana. And in Valmiki Ramayana, in Ayodhya Kanda, The 100th sarga is there, 100th chapter. It is known as Kachit Sarga. And Bharata goes to the forest, Dandakavana, to meet Rama and convince him to come back to Ayodhya. So, when Bharata goes to meet Bhagwan Ram asks a series of questions. And all these questions are guiding principles for any administrator or for any ruler or any leader rather. So let us look into this. The ruler should control sleep and the ruler should get up early. And the ruler or the king or whoever it is should think and plan about the administration in the early morning. Early morning is the right time to do such kind of thinking and planning of the administrative matters. And the confidential discussions and decisions should neither be with a large group or nor alone. Means you should have a small group, core committee, to discuss and decide about confidential matters. You should not take the decision on your own alone. And it also says that confidentiality is the most crucial aspect with regard to the discussions and decisions relating to the people and the country. And it also says that you have projects to be implemented, the projects to be taken up. So which project to be taken, which program to be taken for implementation? You should list down the projects and programs and then also list down the investment that is required. And also the returns you will get once you complete the program and project. Then you should have some prioritization. On what basis? On the basis of the investment or resources required and the returns or the benefits. The cost benefit analysis we talk about now is not a new concept. It is there in Ramayana. It says that you give priority to the programs that are having low investment or require limited resources and give you higher returns or maximum benefits. If we do these kind of prioritization in our country, can't we progress faster? This is a question to be asked by each one of us and answer this question. And it also says that you should execute the projects immediately without any delay. In our case, most of the time the projects get delayed and the investment required, the budget allocated, the fund allocated gets multiplied by many times. And the ruler should have discussions with knowledgeable person, because it says that discussion or brainstorming with one knowledgeable person is more beneficial than having with a bunch of less knowledgeable people or less talented people. How many people were there in your discussion is not so important. Even if it is one person, if that person is a very knowledgeable and capable person, that discussion will be more useful and more beneficial. And this knowledgeable person can also be troubleshooter for you subsequently. So there is no need to keep so many less knowledgeable and less talented people. You should not be surrounded by less capable people. Now we see in many states we have so many advisors. Because of the loyalty they have to the ruling party, they are all appointed. If you look at their capability is almost zero. So that is wasting the resources, wasting the taxpayers' money. This is the principle of Ramayana. And the ruler should also address the needs of the traders, the cultivators, and the animal husbandry. Because traders, cultivators, and people who are depending on animal husbandry are very, very important players in the economy of the country. And the employees should be able to approach the employer without any hesitation or fear or inhibition. See, the access should be there. But of course, it doesn't mean that the employer or the boss rather should be very close to the employees. There should be some limit there. And the leaders should avoid certain things. Which are these? Telling lies, which we more often see nowadays. People always tell lies, they never tell the truth. And negligence, and delaying the completion of the task that was assigned. Laziness, taking unilateral decisions, and discussing with people who know nothing about that subject, and not starting the project even though the decision was taken to start that, and breach of confidentiality. Very confidential information should not be leaked out, and taking up impossible projects or tasks. The leader should never get into impossible tasks and impossible projects which are not feasible. The feasibility assessment is an important dimension in the project planning stage. And not paying attention to the tasks or projects that are feasible. If a task or a project or a program is feasible, immediately it should be taken up. And the leader should not have any apprehensions. And the leader should avoid Ashtavarga. This is what Bhagavan Ram tells Bharata. What is this Ashtavarga? These are 8 attributes. Talking evil about people. Some people have the habit of always talking bad about people. They won't see the good things about them. Oh, you are like this, you are like this, you are like this. They never tell the positive things. And the leader should avoid hurry. The leader should not be in a hurry to take decisions, to announce certain things and all. And the leader should not get into the habit of cheating. The leader should not be a cheater. And the leader should not have any jealousy. And the leader should not have the habit of projecting good qualities as bad qualities. The leader should not be rude. You should be courteous. You should not be discourteous. And the leader should not punish any person without any reason because of anger. And apart from this Ashtavarga, the leader should keep an eye on the competitors, in terms of their existence, their growth and their decay. In a country, this may be applicable to an organization, to a company, to a political party. You should have an eye on the competitors and all. But for a country, your neighbors, what your neighbors are planning, in what way their actions may pose a threat or a challenge to the safety and security of our country. This kind of exercise should be done by the leaders. And the leaders should have frequent interactions with intellectuals and knowledgeable people. So these are the qualities, do's and don'ts for the rulers or the leaders. Now let us look into the core team the leader is having. The core team should have certain qualities. Number 1, trustworthiness. The core team should be trustworthy. It should be intelligent. It should have only intelligent people, knowledgeable people. And the core team should have expertise in the administration. And the core team should be in such a situation that they cannot be influenced by anything. Means they cannot be lured by anybody for money or for any post or something like that. And the core team should have vast knowledge on the basis of studying or reading various books. And the core team should have the confidentiality assurance quality. They should never breach the confidentiality of the information they are having. And the core team should have Trikaran Suddhi. Trikaran Suddhi means thoughts, words and action. Your thoughts should get into words and your words should get into action. And what you are thinking, what you are saying, what you are doing, there should be cohesiveness. There should be synchronization between these three. Some people think something, say something and do something. There won't be any convergence between the three acts. So that should be avoided. And the core team should be able to grasp the views of the others. That means they have the skill to understand the thinking and the behavior and the conduct of the people surrounded by them. And the core team should be having consistency in their thinking. And the core team should be able to contribute in creation of wealth. Not for themselves, for the society, for the community, for the country. And the core team should have the capacity to prevent the leader from punishing people who should not be punished in an aggressive manner. If the ruler is becoming aggressive and he starts punishing people who are not supposed to be punished, the core team should control the ruler or the leader. Now let us look into the employees. The Ramayana says that, Bhagwan Ram says that the tasks should be divided into three categories. Number one, great tasks means highly talented people only can do these tasks. The second one is normal tasks. Moderately talented people can do these tasks. The third one is petty tasks. Even normally talented people can also do these tasks. So Bhagwan Ram says that you divide the tasks into these three categories and you divide your employees also into these three categories, and 1:1, 1 and 1, 2 and 2, 3 and 3. The matching should happen. If you put highly talented people in petty tasks, it would be underemployment. If you put normally talented people to do great tasks, it will be a disaster because they don't have the capability, they don't have the intelligence, they don't have the talent to perform the task. That would be a disaster. I think I should not say more than this. I think this kind of analysis can be done in every organization, every academic institution, every department and every company, etc. Now, the chief of the staff. What are the qualities of the chief of the staff? The chief of the staff should be a satisfied person with the honors extended by the government to him or to her. And the chief should be an expert in strategies, making strategies and implementing strategies, revising the strategies, refining the strategies. And the chief should be bold, not only in normal times, even in difficult situations or adverse situations. And the chief should be a perfect person. So this kind of assessment of the people should be done before appointing them in any position in the government. Now the staff should be very strong, efficient, physically and mentally fit, and it also says that the timely payment of the salaries and pets is crucial, because any delay in making the salaries and other pets will make the employees unhappy, and unhappy employees may not be able to contribute towards the welfare of the organization or the unit. Now, let us look into some of the useful principles from Ramayana. Suppose you get help from somebody, and then if that somebody is in need of some help, it is your moral responsibility and it is your duty to help the person who helped you earlier. Hanumanji was going to Lanka, and he decided to cross the ocean to reach Lanka and find out the whereabouts of Masita. When he was going, Samudra observes that, and there was this Mainaka Parvata beneath the sea, and Samudra tells the Mainaka Parvata that Hanumanji is going on Ramakaryam, so you please raise to the above and give him the hospitality, because he will be your Atidhi, he will be your guest, so you please take care of him. And he says that Krute japati kartavyam esha dharmas sanatanaha, means helping the people who have helped you earlier is a Sanatana Dharma. That's what Samudra tells to Mainaka Parvata. And then of course Mainaka Parvata comes up and offers the hospitality, but Hanumanji says that Pratignya samaya dasta nasasabya mehantare pritos uttamatyam manduresho apaniyata. I am very satisfied with the hospitality extended by you. I am thankful to you. I have taken a oath that I should not stop in between. So, and I don't have time also. I have timelines. So I have to respect the timelines. So let me go. That's what Hanumanji tells him. And one has to be free from tension, and one has to be very enthusiastic. Then only you can be a successful person, and then only you can be a happy person. If you are always under tension, if you are always lacking enthusiasm, then you will always be unhappy. You will always be unsuccessful. You will be failing in every activity you take up. And your heart should be free from sorrow and sadness. If you always think very sad, I don't have this, I don't have that, I am doing this, I am not doing this, I am not getting this. If you always feel negative, it completely will be negative. So you should have positive attitude, you should have positive thinking, you should have positive way of approaching the things. And it also says that if you are alive, you can see better and happy days, if not today, tomorrow. Jivena bhadrani pasyantu. If you are alive, you can always see a better tomorrow. If you are not alive, then what will you see? Vinasa bahavo dosha. Jivena bhadrani pasyantu. This is the message of Ramayana. Nowadays, unfortunately, many youngsters are getting into suicides and all. And message of Ramayana is that don't get into that kind of stupid acts. Have confidence in you. Be positive. If you fail today, no issue. Tomorrow you will be successful. If not tomorrow, day after tomorrow, success will be yours. If you are alive, you will always see happy days. You will always see successful days. You will always see good days. But if you are not alive, everything is blank. Everything is dark. So, don't get into panic situation and don't get into that kind of attitude. And it also says that if one decides to take the life forcefully, that would have many complications which are not good for the person, for the family, for the society, for the country. Vinase bahavo dosha jivena bhadrani pasyati. And it also says anirveda sriyo moolam anirveda param sukham. You should be free from sorrowness. You should be joyful. You should be enthusiastic. And that is the ultimate factor that is required in every individual. And it also says that democratic way should be adopted for decision making. How is it possible? Let us look into that. Sugriva sent 4 different groups of Vanaras to 4 different directions. And one group of Vanaras was sent to the southern direction. The leader was Anjada, and the group was having Jambavan, Hanumanji, and several others. And then they exceeded the time that was given by Sugriva, and they were not able to find out the whereabouts of Sitaji. They could not complete the task assigned to them. They crossed the time limits, and then they were all sitting on the seashore. And Sampati tells them that Sitaji is in Lanka, which is about Satyajojana, 100 yojanas from there. And Sampati tells them that if someone can cross the ocean, he can go to the Lanka and find out Sita there. So everybody was upset. Everybody thought that they will have tough time now because they exceeded the time limit and they could not complete the task assigned to them by Sugriva. Because Sugriva was very particular about the timelines. Time management and timely completion and adhering to the timelines and completing the task within the timelines is very, very, very crucial according to Ramayana. And at that point of time, Jambavanta knew that Hanumanji can cross the ocean. He can only save the Vanaras. But in spite of that, he called for a meeting and he asked each of the Vanaras to tell about their capability with regard to crossing the ocean. Somebody said 10 yojanas, somebody said 20 yojanas, like that. Somebody said, I can go but I cannot come back. Ultimately, they decided that Hanumanji should go. It was a democratic way. Jambavan should have avoided this meeting and decision with the individuals, and straight away he should have asked Hanuman to cross the ocean. Hanumanji should have done that. But it is a democratic way of taking the decisions. And even Dasratha, when he wanted to appoint Rama as Yuvaraja, he got that idea. Then he called the Sabha, Janasabha. He called the people from various walks of the life, from Ayodhya as well as from the nearby places. And in the Janasabha, he makes an announcement about his intention to make Rama the Yuvaraja. And all of them said, Ichha mohi mahabahum raghuviram parakramam. They all said, yes, we are in favor of your decision. We want Bhagavan Ram to be the Yuvaraja. So that is the way democratic principles were existing even during Ramayana time. And what are the tips for success from Ramayana? Because everybody wants to be a successful person. Abnormal intellect is required, strength is required. You should be physically as well as mentally strong, emotionally you should be strong, and you should have the skill of giving solutions. Everybody can be a part of a problem, but it won't help you. Oh, this is a problem, this is a problem, that is a problem. You can give a number of problems. You can list down a number of problems. So what? Unless and until you become part of a solution, it won't help you. Unfortunately, in our country, the biggest problem is that everybody talks about problems. Not even single person comes out with a solution. That is the problem. Whereas Hanumanji, always he gives right kind of advice at the right kind of time, and he gives the solution to the problem. Vali was determined to kill Sugriva. Sugriva was roaming. Vali was behind him. And Sugriva roams around the globe to save his life. Ultimately, Hanumanji tells Sugriva, hey Sugriva, listen, there is a solution. This Rishabhuta Parvata is there. You can happily stay there. Because Vali has a sapa. Vali cannot come to the Rishabhuta Parvata. The moment Vali steps onto the Rishabhamuni Parvata, he will perish. This was the Sapa given by Muni. So because of that, you will be safe if you are on the Rishabhamuni Parvata. So this is what required. Your advisors should be in a position to give you solutions to your problems, to save you from the problematic situation. And the next one is adjustability. Adjustability as per the time and place. Hanumanji was crossing the ocean. When he was about to cross the ocean, he expands his body. Parvataka bhabu adbhuta darsanaha. Parvataka darsanaha. He was like a mountain. Whereas when he meets Surata, Surasa says that you have to enter my mouth. This is the vara given by Brahma. Then he becomes very small, gets into the mouth of Surasa and comes out. After reaching Lanka, he decides to go around and see for Sitaji, search for Sitaji rather. That time he becomes Prushadam Sutamatrasan Bahuva Adbhutadarsanaha. He becomes very small, like a cat. So Hanumanji was having the skill of becoming too big or becoming too small, depending on the situation and demands of the situation. And complete concentration and past history of successful completion of the mission. And mind also should be in favor of the decision you have taken. Many times we nod our head, yeah, I will do that. But your mind was not with you. In mind you say, no, I cannot do this. Why is he asking me to do that? You will have some kind of negative thinking in your mind. So that won't help you. So once you decide to do that, in your mind you should have strong desire and determination and urge, burning fire to fulfill the task. Then only you will be able to succeed. If you do half-hearted efforts, you will never succeed. That's what Hanumanji did not ask any questions. When Jambavan said, you have to cross, he said, yes, I will go. Aham Gamishyami Lankam Ravana Palitam. He said, I will go to Lanka, which is ruled by Ravana. And he also says, if I don't find Sitaji there, I will go to all the places where I can find Sita. Or otherwise he says, I will bring Ravana along with Lanka. That kind of determination was there. That's why Hanumanji was successful. So many Vanaras were sent, only Hanumanji was able to accomplish the task that was given by Sugriva and Bhagwan Ram. So if you want to succeed, you should have these kind of qualities. Your mind, your intellect, your body, your effort, everything should be towards the goal you want to reach. And you should have confidence in you. Self-confidence is required. If you don't have self-confidence, no, yes, I can do that, I will do that. But it should not lead to ankara, it should not lead to ego. Hanumanji never had ego. How can you say that? Because he said, Yadha Raghava Nirmuttaha Saras Sasanamitramaha Damkam Kamishyami Lankam Ravanapalitam. He says, I am going to Lanka just like Rama's Bana, arrow released by Rama. That means you should not have any ego. You should have ahankara tyaga. You should be egoless. But you should have confidence. There is a thinner line between the confidence and the ego. The confidence should not lead to ego. And you should never feel sad, because that is the most dangerous aspect. And if you feel sad, if you are completely affected by sorrowness and sadness, then the machine would be a failure. That is the message of Ramayana, and that is what you can learn from Sundarakanda and Hanumanji. Accomplishing the task, even though it is difficult, is possible if you have the qualities of Hanumanji. And then the personality. When we talk about personality development, what do we mean by personality? Personality means good qualities are required, good attributes are required, and fearlessness is required. You did not fear for anything. Because you don't do anything wrong. If you have not done anything wrong, why should you fear for somebody? And righteousness. Righteousness means it is dharma. As long as you are in the path of dharma, as long as you are going according to the dharma, you are not going against dharma, you need not fear anybody. Because dharme labate sarvam dharmasaram idam jagat. That is the message of Ramayana. You will get everything through dharma. If you have dharma, you will get everything. If you are not with dharma, if you are away from dharma, you will not get anything. You will lose everything. Ravana was having everything, but he lost everything because he is away from dharma. Rama, he was away from everybody. He was away from his mother, he is away from his brothers, away from his kingdom. He lost his father. He is away from wealth. He is away from everything. Only surrounded by this Vanarasena. But he became victorious because he is with dharma. Ramo vigrahavan dharmaha sadhu satya parakramaha. That is the message. And even modern days, if you look at Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, he was fighting for the dharma. He was fighting for Sanatana dharma. He was fighting for protecting the Hindu dharma. He was protecting Veda dharma. He was protecting Gomata. He was protecting the Hindu women who were harassed by the invaders, the Muslim invaders. And he became victorious. Victory was of Chhatrapati Shivaji due to the kindness and anugraha of Bhavani Mata. Because he was with dharma. He was away from his father, away from mother, away from family. He was always wandering from one fort to another fort. He was wandering from one forest to another forest. He was always fighting, always fighting. He was never comfortable. But he never bothered about that. Because his principle, his mission was to protect the Sanatana Dharma, to protect the Haindava Dharma, Vaidika Dharma. And it was a yajna. In that yajna, he was a samhita. And an ideal person should always speak truth. And you should always remember the favors or help extended by others, not the harm extended by others. About Bhagwan Ram, Ayodhya Kanda says that if you do very little help, even if it is unintentional, Bhagwan Ram will remember that. If you do hundreds of avataras, he will forget that. So this is the quality required. We always thought negative things. Oh, you have not done that, you have not done that, you have not done that, like that. We never say you have done this, you have done this, you have done this. Can we list out what all helps we got from that person? What all harms we got from that person? Which is more? If the helps are more, you should have respect to that person, you should have love and affection towards that person. Bhagavan Ram was always forgetting the harms that one apataras done by that person. He was always remembering smallest help extended by that person. And you should always speak truth. Satyam vadha dharmam chara Ramaha satya vikramaha satya sankalpaha. Rama says that Satyam is the only path to be adopted by anybody. Satyame Veswaro Loke. Satya Dharma Pratishtita. Because of Satya, your Dharma is protected. And because of Satya, you are in the path of Dharma. If you are not in the path of Satya, you are away from Dharma. Satya and Dharma are interlinked. You cannot say that I am not a Satyavadi, but I am following Dharma. No, you cannot say that. The moment you become Asatyavadi, you are no longer a Dharmachara Parayana. And you should have unlimited determination. Unlimited. There should not be any limit. I want to do that, I will do that. Whether it is materialistic life or spiritual life, or if you are Anusthana, your sadhana, whatever it is, your determination should be unlimited. There should not be any limit to that. And you should have knowledge, immense knowledge. How will you get knowledge? You will get knowledge by reading literature. Your Sanatana Dharma has given so much of literature. So you should read those, Puranas and Ithihasas and Vedas and all, and acquire as much knowledge as you can. And then you should have good conduct, and you should have intention to do good for all. You should help everybody. Help all, hurt none. That should be the principle. And you should have efficiency. You should be efficient. You should be cheerful. You should be stubborn. And you should control your anger. And you should be free from jealousy. So these are the qualities as part of the personality development. Just look into Hanumanji's mission. Task was to demonstrate strength, to demonstrate power, efficiency, etc. and find out the safety of Sita and come back. And time given was 1 month. And there was also an assessment of the capability of the team members, as I mentioned a few minutes back. And when he was crossing the ocean, he decides, he was having his plan ready. At what height he will go, at what level he will go, at what speed he will go, at what time he would reach Lanka. Everything was planned, pre-planned. And there were obstacles, and he got 3 obstacles, 3 different kinds of obstacles, and he adopted 3 different strategies to come out of the 3 obstacles. You cannot have uniform strategy for each obstacle. Each obstacle requires a different strategy. Your strategy refinement is required there. This is the management principle. And there is no break, there is no rest in between. So you should have this kind of determination. I will not stop until I complete this task. That kind of determination is required. There will be tests for that. You should not yield to the test and I wanted to do that, but I could not do that. No excuses. I wanted to do that. I want to do that. I am doing it. I have done that. That's it. And how to set? There was a plan. How will he go? At what size? What kind of size? What kind of shape? Everything was decided. And at what time? He reaches in the evening, Lanka. And he decides this is not the time to go in search of Sita, because there is daylight. In daylight, people may find me, and they may find out. They may notice me. So he decided intentionally to go only after sunset. That kind of strategy is required. When to do, how to do, and these kind of strategy, nitty-gritties have to be worked out. And what was the approach adopted? Observation was the approach adopted. He observed everything. Chaturangala navakasa savijjate. He did not leave out even 4 angulas space without searching for Sita in the Lanka. And he looked into the physical and other characteristics, because he never knew who is Sita. He never saw Sita. Rama described to a little extent, to some extent, and he looked into the ornaments that were dropped by Sita ji on the Rishabh Parvata. He looked into those ornaments, and he looked into the ornaments she was having there, and he correlated these two. And the ornaments that were dropped on Rishabh Parvata were not found on the body of Sita ji. So this was an indicator, observation indicator. And the conversation, about the conversation, he wanted to talk to Sita ji, but she was surrounded by all Rakshasa Vanitas. So how to communicate to her? In which language to communicate? What should be the content? What should be the starting sentence? And then what should be the volume modulation? Everything was planned. And whether to see and talk, or whether to talk without seeing, what are the implications? He was having planned for all these things. Depending on the situation, he changed his strategy, he adopted the strategy, and he could complete. And nobody was able to see him while he was talking to Mata Sita. And he was also trying to create confidence and peace of mind and draw attention. Multiple tasking was done by Hanumanji. Most successful management guru is Hanumanji from Ramayana. And when Sitaji asks him, Hanumanji, Hanuman, you are able to come, but how about other people in your team? Then Hanumanji tells her that Visishta Chasulya Santi Vanavokasaha. He says that in Sugriva's team, there are people who are as capable of myself or more capable than me. There was no individual who could be less capable than me. That was the description given by Hanumanji. That means it was an effort to create confidence in Sitaji and to create motivation, to motivate Sitaji, and Hanumanji was very good in counseling and motivation. And he also says that Preshante Hitre Janaha. He also tells Sitaji that for this kind of small task, only small people like me will be sent. So all are big people only. I am the only small man in Vanara Sena. That's what he says. And he also says that when a small man like me can come here, why to talk about others? No need to have any doubt. No need to have any apprehension about their ability to come here and along with Rama, and they will win over Lankadisa, Ravana, and Ramji will take you back to Ayodhya, and Ramji will become the Maharaja of Ayodhya along with you. That's what Hanumanji gave the assurance to Ma Sita. And Ramayana also, Sundarakanda also has another principle. Karye karmana nidishte yo bhaunyati sadhayetu purva karya varodena sakaryam kartumarahati. That means you have two tasks, one primary task and one secondary task. The Ramayana says that you can take up the secondary task not at the cost of the primary task. You should complete the primary task and then take up and complete the secondary task. And Hanumanji's first task was to find out Sita. Where is she? How is she? Like that. And he completed that. Then he wanted to talk to Ravana and he wanted to do some damage to Lanka. He did that. He spoke to Ravana, he killed many Rakshasas, and as a result of that, there was a fear psychosis that got generated in the minds of the Rakshasas. One small person came from Vanarasena and he did so much of damage to us. If entire Vanarasena comes with Rama and Lakshmana and Sugriva, what will happen to us? They started worrying. So moral defeat was experienced by the Rakshasas, including Ravana, Indrajit and everybody. And that was number one. Number two, 50% of the properties, buildings, infrastructure and weaponries and everything was damaged by Hanumanji by letting fire to the Lanka. So he has completed the primary task and then successfully completed the other tasks as well. He did maximum damage to Lanka. So that is the way someone has to take up the task and complete the task. And then there are, people, three types of employees will be there. The first one is highest level, then the middle level and lowest level. The highest level employees would accomplish the most difficult task assigned to them. And they use their intellect, their power, and also they complete other related tasks. Hanumanji is an example for this. And then there are the second level, middle level people. They have the capacity and efficiency to complete the other tasks, but they confine to only the primary task. They complete that and they won't get into other tasks. You asked me to do this, I have done that. I had time, but I did not do that because you did not ask me to do that. That's the kind of response they will do. They are middle level. Then the third level is the lowest level. They have the capacity, they have the efficiency, but they forget about the secondary task. They fail to do the primary task as well. So these kind of categorization of employees should be done in every organization, in every ministry, every department, every government. Then people. There are people with different kinds of behaviors. One set of people, they discuss in details with all the well-wishers, and these well-wishers can give proper ideas, and they also discuss with friends, and these friends will always share their happy and unhappy situations with them, and they also share with relatives who are also well-wishers, and then initiate the work. Means you discuss with your well-wishers, you discuss with your friends, you discuss with your relatives, and start the work, initiate the work. And the second category, they don't discuss with anybody. They think, they decide, and they execute alone without seeking the help of the others. Like Ravana. Rama falls into the first category. Hanuman ji is from the first category. Ravana is from the second category. And the third category, without assessing the consequences, implications, or they are having overconfidence of completing the task alone, and they neglect all other aspects. Indrajit is like this. Indrajit tells that I only can take care of the Rama and everybody. Don't worry, father, don't worry. Atampana also says that I alone can manage the situation, don't worry. And then coming to the decision making. Here again, three types of decision making is there. Uttama, Madhyama and Adhama. Uttama means all members, all the team members, all the ministers, they will discuss with a scientific outlook and take unanimous decision. No emotional outlook. The second one is Madhyama. Here, there will be some difference of opinion at the initial stage, but through discussions, through negotiations, they will arrive at a decision which is accepted by everybody. The third one is Adhama. They have difference of opinion. Different opinions are there. Everybody thinks that his view is the best, and whatever decisions they take, they will be counterproductive. So, these are all the management related tips which will make a person at individual level, at society level, at organization level, at government level successful. And we need not look into outside India. We have very rich source, very rich resource with us in our Sanatana Varmaya, and through this Sanatana Lahari channel, we are trying to put before you various facets of our Sanatana Varmaya that can be used by the modern youth so that they flourish in their lives. So that is the intention of putting before you all these aspects. So this is a small effort in that direction, and we request you all to keep watching this Sanatana Lahari YouTube channel and share this information with your friends, relatives, colleagues and well-wishers. And the Sanatana Lahari will have the messages and the content in English, Hindi as well as Telugu. So you should get the benefit of Sanatana Varmaya that is provided through the Sanatana Lahari channel, and kindly do subscribe and also encourage your friends and well-wishers as well as colleagues to subscribe to this channel so that more and more people get the benefit. Dhanyavad sarvebhyo namaskaraha sarvebhyo dhanyavadah. Swasti prajabhyah paripalayantam nyānyena mārgyena mahim mahisāha गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु मण्डलं कोसलेन्द्राय महनीय गुणात्मने चक्रवर्ती तनूजाय सार्वभौमाय मण्डलं जय श्रीराम महादेव।